Great question. In some ways, in this world, sometimes there's no real original ideas, but sometimes there's parallel universes where you may have an idea and then not know that it exists somewhere else already.
Okay.
So I had this idea that, hey, I could use martial arts to do something a little more than what I grew up seeing martial arts being used for. So I grew up in South Philadelphia, and there was a lot of fighting, a lot of violence in my time growing up.
Right.
One of the things that I think saved me from the streets, if you will, is my martial art training. But not the fighting part of it. It just was a positive activity, put me in front of positive role models, had me on a positive track. I was always working to improve my body, improve my abilities to, compete in what we call those Korean style karate. It was called Tong Sudo at the time. And I said, well, I can use this. I just need to figure out how to get more time with the students so we can do more positive things. And I had this idea of starting this, hey, instead of just being like one class after school, how about if we got them after school, brought them to the program, helped them with their homework, made these same kinds of kids hang out together and get to know each other, and let that create a community, if you will, and train them on top of it. When mom or dad gets home from work at 6 o'clock or 5:30, they can pick them up. And now we've been able to instill all these martial art values: courtesy, humility, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and others with more, I'm going to use the word, with a higher dosage. And my idea was just simply to do that when I started. But then I started talking to my teacher, and his name is Sun Ho Chang. And he is in his mid-80s now, and he's retired. But he attended a university in South Korea called Yongin University. And before it was a university, it was a college. Before it was known as the college, it was known as the Korean Judo College. Judo in Korean is equal to the word judo. So, there's various mindsets around martial arts. There's a lot of, like, you watch UFC, like, that's a sport. And it's a very, it's a sport that is as close to what real combat could look like with, man on man, but it's not exactly pure martial art. Pure martial art is, there are no rules, and you can't have that legally occur,
Yeah.
the liability, and it's just not worth the cost. But, so that's what we call the sportification of martial art. It's very popular, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all these other martial arts are very popular along with that because they align well with that model. But there's other martial arts. And one of the higher-minded martial arts, or one of the more respected martial arts, I would say, is judo. And I'm a black belt in judo, and others in karate. But my teacher attended this university called Korea Judo College, and the idea of judo was originally not to be a martial art, but it was to capture a warrior culture, but use it as a model of physical education for youth development, or let's say, or for the development of human potential. And this occurred in Japan in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
So the person who is behind all that, his name was Dr. Jigoro Kano. And Dr. Kano was the Minister of Education in Japan at the time, at the turn of the century. And what I learned from my Grandmaster Chang, and then what I learned as he introduced me to the ideas that we got from Dr. Kano and these judo principles, is how to take martial art and use it to support outcomes for young people. And obviously we can still teach martial art just the same, right? So that set me on the path. And here you are talking to me 27 years later, where, I guess when I first had this idea, I didn't even graduate college yet.
Wow.
So I didn't even have a college degree. Then I went on, I got my personal education, I got my master's degree, I got my doctorate, I earned multiple degrees in different martial arts, and kind of I was like the test case for this. And we used a lot of these different concepts that we learned about. Hey, in judo, there's two big principles. One is called mutual benefit. Another one's called maximum efficiency. you start applying those principles like to your life and to like how you learn and to things that you do, well, it opens up a lot of different possibilities, and it supports the idea that you can be very well educated, and you can have a good healthy body in spirit and in physical self, and be able to navigate the world in a way that's a little different than, I would say, your normal person who doesn't have that opportunity. And that idea is kind of like the driving forces behind what we did to start what we call Zhang Sah. Zhang Sah loosely means Zhang Sah. It means brave scholar loosely in Korean.
So it's Zhang Sah?
Zhang, say it like a J.
Zhang Sah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that term actually predates the Korean alphabet. So the stamp there is something called Sino-Korean, which is part Chinese, part Korean, before they created an alphabet. So actually me and Grandmaster went and met with a monk in this area called Insadong, Korea, and he actually made the stamp for us for the school back in early 2000s. And
That's pretty cool.
yeah, so that's a little bit about the why and how now today we are, we're a licensed childcare program, we're a licensed private academic school, and we're a multi-martial art organization. So you hear about mixed martial arts a lot, but we're not mixed martial arts where we're not just a selection of what's going to work in a certain scenario. We are a multidisciplinary martial arts school where you come here, my black belts are learning karate, judo, aikido, and taekwondo. So they graduate with quadruple black belts, and they learn the full programs in all of these arts. So we're not that sexy, because it's not like, hey, let's go high five and roll on the mat.
Right.
It's we're doing a lot of bowing. They're learning. When we're doing taekwondo, they're talking in Korean. When we're doing judo, we're talking in Japanese. We're shifting gears on. So here, you literally have to become a brave scholar in order to learn the traditional martial arts. So I would say to you, where you can go and learn hip hop, or go have fun social dance, is a lot different than going to Russian ballet. So it's different. And I'm not saying that I'm Baryshnikov, but I'm just.
It's definitely different. It takes a different level of discipline to.
It's a different level of
master, because I've seen what you guys just do this morning, and I'm like.
Right.
Nope, I could never.
So another thing that's really important to know about
Can't say never.
is we're a nonprofit organization. We exist to promote the education of these arts, and we're using these arts to support educational processes like the physical education, help the kids get the confidence to do their homework. Be able to have the self-discipline to sit still in the chair when the teacher's talking to them in school. All of those things are transferable skills, transferable traits that support good things for children, in our regular society. It doesn't have to be just about, hey, can I beat somebody in a sport match? Right? That's really, I would say, it's a low-hanging fruit, and that's what is, commonplace. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think it actually is important, especially in certain phases of people's human development. If I'm a teenager or in my young 20s and I've been practicing for a while, I need to be able to test. I need to be able to stress test my skills. So competition is good. And when I was that age, I did a lot of competition myself. But that's not the end of it. That's not the end of the story. That's actually for a lot of, in a lot of the traditions, that's the beginning of the story. Right? When you have enough of the ability where you can actually perform, okay, now let's start teaching you martial art. Now let me start teaching you how your mind is over your muscle. And actually that's the name of the book that Dr. Kano wrote. It's called Mind Over Muscle. And we use it as one of our guiding texts at the school.
But tap into that book.
Yeah,
sure. No, it's great. And it really just talks about, it talks about judo, but it talks about just how you bring out your potential. And that's what we're trying to do here. So I hope that's helpful. We are, like I said, it's been a long road. I was trying to do this model, and it's novel. We're the only organization of our kind in the United States.
Definitely the only one I've seen thus far.
Yeah, and we've been doing it for, like I said, Friday it'll be 27 years.
Yes, I wanted to ask you guys about that. So you're celebrating 27 years on
Yeah.
Friday. How ironic that we're here the week that you're celebrating.
It is.
But
ironic.
what do you guys plan on
Serendipitous for
doing
that.
to do for the celebration?
Nothing special. We do our belt testing processes in September, so the kids that pass their belt tests will get their belts awarded on Friday. Like the kids in the pre-kindergarten have their ceremony in the afternoon. The kids that come to the after-school program, the adults will come in the evening and they'll get their belts awarded. And then, I don't know, maybe we'll have a cake or something, right? Happy birthday. And, you know, you try not to celebrate too much because you try not to get, overwhelmed when things don't go great. So, we try and stay humble and just stay on track. And, it'll be nice. If you guys want to come on by, you're welcome to drop in.
For sure.
The more the merrier. But last, I would just say, last August, we were awarded our private school license. So we are developing a kindergarten through 8th grade private school.
Wow.
So
you guys will be teaching academics as well as...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the whole process that we've gone through over the past 27 years is we've developed academic programs that align with the martial art programs to help bring out the potential in the students to come here. So we're part of PHL Pre-K, we're part of Philly OST, and we do a lot of work, throughout the city, but specifically, at this location, this is where we started it all. So,
Do you guys have other locations?
Yeah, we have a school in Mount Airy, we have a school in Winfield, and then we're in 7 Philadelphia public schools as well throughout the city. We partner with the school district and the Pennsylvania Department of Education for their 21st Century Learning Community program.
Oh, wow. I love it.
So, that's who we are.
I love it. I definitely gravitated towards what you guys do for the community, but definitely for the kids. Like I've never seen, especially I think the pre-K part kind of got me the most. I was like, well, how are we teaching the pre-K?
They are just so cute. So, one of the big, pillars in education is developmentally appropriate instruction. So you have to look at their stages of development for not just, should they be able to do their letters and make their sounds, or should they learn their numbers? But there's also developmentally appropriate ways to teach. How long should a class be? What should the demands be? So we develop what we call a pre-MA martial art programs, pre-martial arts. So it's for preschool kids. So they do pre-MA, and then that helps develop a strong foundation for when they become school age, and then they move into our school age program, which is another foundation for them to move into our teen and adult program later on. At that program, which I told you is a quadruple black belt program. So they actually, they start off and matriculate very slowly in a way that helps them, do it at their own speed and comfort level, but it's progressive. And they develop really great athletic abilities. They develop really strong character traits, as well as they learn how to read and write. We also teach Mandarin and Spanish in the program as well, because we think students that have those kinds of capacities should really feel like they're part of the global community. And if you can,
I like the way you said that, global community.
Yeah, and and I want to say I'm not against nationalism. I'm very proud to be an American. I'm very proud to be from South Philly. I'm very proud to be a Philadelphian. But I'm also very proud that I can go to a country in South America, or I can go to a country in Latin America, and I can say, "Hola, cómo está? ¿Está bien?" Yeah. Okay, and I can talk to them in Spanish.
Mucho.
I'm happy that we can go and we can say, ni hao, okay. So hello to our friends who are also speaking or reading in Chinese. But between English, Mandarin, and Spanish, that's 80% of the planet. So our goal is to let these kids be true citizens of the world, coming from this great city of brotherly love. So Zhang Sah, it's a part of it's a global initiative, but it's a Philly thing. You know what I'm saying? And
It's a Philly thing.
I am a Philly thing.
I forgot.
It's definitely a food.
All right. All right.
Thank you guys so much for tapping in with us. If you want, you can let them know where to find you so we can put that in.
Oh yeah, well, if you want to talk to me, I'm Dr. Salvatore Sandone. My email is ssandone@zhangsah.org, ZHANGSAH.org. You can look us up on the web. There you go.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Let me just make sure I don't have any other. We covered the nonprofit part of it. The different color belts. So I know you mentioned you were a black belt. I think that's the top of the top, right?
It's a black belt.
Black belt? Okay. So what are the different colors and the levels for?
Tiers.
Okay, so again, Dr. Jubal Ricano, he created a belt system. So he was an educator, and his idea was, hey, we can scale the pedagogy of learning this physical education system and grade your progress by identifying you with a different color belt in class. So the traditional belts are orange, green, brown, and black. And they represent the seasons of the year. So like an orange is kind of like a seedling or a little pod, and the green's a sprout, and then the brown is kind of like it's starting to fruit, and then black is kind of like the end of the cycle, and it kind of goes again. So the idea is this black belt will eventually turn white and come again. So you start as a white belt, but then there's orange, green, brown, black. At Zhang Sah, we've added a couple belts. We have a yellow belt between white and orange, so it kind of gets a little, so we can spread out the curriculum. And then we have between between brown and black, we have a red belt. So we go, at Zhang Sah, we go white, yellow, orange, green, brown, red, black.
Gotcha.
So that's how we kind of do it. So it's still kind of like the same concept, but a little slower on the spring and a little slower on the fall.
Gotcha. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing. During your class, you mentioned, or you said the yame?
Yeah, I mean stop.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, yame. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, yummy.
All right, cool. Yame.
It's Japanese
So
for
if
stop.
we didn't learn